Titanfall 2's tech test is right around the corner, so it's finally about time that we get prepared for it and get ready for all the video content and everything that's coming out. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you guys know who I am. You know that I'm going to be playing the tech test, even though it's not going to be on PC. So we'll get through everything, where you can find me, where you can find everyone else that's going to be playing the game. We'll have a little discussion about why the game is not going to be on PC, at least not the tech test anyways. But first up, we'll go through all my, advertising BS that I feel like I want to do today. So I'm going to be streaming from the PS4. I'll be streaming at as good of quality as my internet will let me, which isn't great, but I'm going to be recording locally, 60 FPS, 60 megabits per second, 1080p, the best video that I can possibly record, short of a lossless recording with a Blackmagic, recorder. So I'm going to be trying to record nearly every single game that I play. And as long as there's not any kind of a restriction on me from posting everything, I plan on posting pretty much nearly every single game that I play from the Titanfall technical test, because I know a lot of people are just clamoring for content. They just want to see good gameplay. So my goal is going to be to try and provide that. I am going to be borrowing a Zim from a friend of mine, so the idea is that I'm going to be able to play with keyboard and mouse, although it won't be like true keyboard and mouse like you could find on PC, but it'll be, to be emulated, but hopefully I can still actually perform somewhat decently, get some good wall running routes figured out, and just make the game look fast like it's supposed to look, and not, not janky like the controller will inevitably make it look and feel. So we're going to try and accomplish that. That is our number one goal, is providing all kinds of YouTube content thanks to this Elgato PCIe recorder that I bought. Moving forward from that, I'm going to be streaming as well. You can find me on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/FrothyOmen. Again, whenever I'm playing, I'm going to try to stream as long as I'm not having any kind of technical or internet difficulties. I plan on streaming as much as I humanly possibly can. Keep in mind, I do work 50 hours, 60 hours a week on the regular, so I'm not going to have a lot of time for more than 2 or 3 hour streams at most likely. Sorry about my phone there, but that's kind of where we're at with that. So with all that said, Titanfall tech test only going to be on consoles, right? So what's the deal there? So we're not going to be seeing it on PC. The reason being given, and I'm just paraphrasing here from the man himself, Vin Sampella, is that basically, long story short, the game is just not ready on PC yet. It's not ready to adapt to all the different hardware configurations that the PC world is going to throw at it. They haven't really figured out what the minimum specifications for the game are going to be yet. So what is the lowest quality hardware you could possibly have and still run the game at 720p 30 FPS or whatever they deem to be the baseline, right? What is the baseline that can run the game? They haven't figured that out yet. So I know a lot of people would wonder, well, why don't they put out a technical test so we can figure out what that baseline is and help them? But that's really not for the consumer base to figure out. So here's kind of the situation from Respawn's perspective, because I see a lot of people freaking out on YouTube, on Twitter, on Reddit especially, about all this stuff. And I kind of want to just give my 2 cents. You have to look at this from a perspective that is not your own. That's not the player's perspective. And this has been said a couple times on Reddit already, so trying not to completely, steal their idea. This is something that I, have been talking about to some people privately already. A couple of us have all kind of come to the same conclusion, but that conclusion is this, is that this is a lose-lose situation for Respawn, just considering where in what state the PC version is right now. So they haven't defined a minimum specification for the game. They haven't completely, or even partially optimized the game to a level that they're really comfortable with yet. So what that means is that if they were to release the game on PC, they're going to have a large number of players who are simply not able to play it or are experiencing game-breaking issues. So that's going to, one, prevent them from getting the data that they really want by a technical test, by having a lot of people playing, because if a lot of people are having problems at the get-go, they're just going to turn the game off and not continue playing it. Secondly, it's just guaranteed bad PR for their game. They're either going to have a runaway success where it works on everyone's PC, or if they haven't finished optimizing and figuring everything out yet, it's not going to perform well on very many people's PCs at all. So not only are they going to get no data from no people playing, they're going to get a lot of negative press from people talking crap about the game and making YouTube videos saying Titanfall 2 terrible XD, 1 million views later from PewDiePie or whatever. Like, you know, it's gonna backfire on them if they were to release it on PC right now. Based upon what they're saying, the game is just simply not quite ready yet on PC. It's a lot easier to get the game ready on consoles because consoles only have one permutation of hardware, and that is potato. They only have one set of potato. That's it. There's no other versions. On a PC, I mean, you can have 3 different PCs with the exact same hardware, but you know the software and firmware and everything installed on every single computer is going to be so vastly different based upon each user's use case scenarios and what they're actually doing with their computer, that the game may run differently based upon those 2 similar or identical hardware setups. So therein lies the problem: is that there is no situation in this PC release for them to succeed, right, and to have good press and to advertise their game and put it into a good light. Because, you know, believe it or not, whether or not you agree with the sentiment, the technical test, beta, alpha, whatever you guys want to call it, whatever they're going to be doing, putting the game into the player's hands has to be considered in a lot of aspects a demo. It has to be considered, you know, this is a fairly faithful representation of what our final game is going to look, feel, and play like. And it has to be something that actually appeals to people, right? If they can't even run it and it doesn't appeal to people in demo, they're not going to have any faith in the game to be fixed up and working properly by final release. PC gamers are very, very, very butthurt about this over the past few years because there's been so many very terrible PC ports from console games that everyone just assumes the worst and expects the worst, and if it does better than that, okay, yeah, they did a good job, but everyone expects the game to do bad. Everyone will spew as much vitriol as possible because they don't want to get their hopes up about something like that. So honestly, this is probably the best move that Respawn could have made. You know, now, could they have made this announcement a little bit earlier on? That would have been nice. Maybe they didn't even know 2 weeks ago. Maybe they were still planning on doing a PC version 2 weeks ago, and, you know, they're just getting to crunch time and they're realizing, like, we're not ready yet. But whatever the case may be, it's probably the lesser of 2 evils to make the announcement now that it's not going to be out on PC right away. It's probably the better idea to do that now. They're going to have way less problems doing it this way. Yeah, people are going to get upset at first, but, you know, people like me are going to make videos. You know, everyone's going to have a week to think about it, and they're going to realize, well, you know what, I'd rather the game succeed, and, you know, if they don't think it's ready, then, you know, then we won't play it yet. So that's pretty much where we're at with the tech test right now, guys. I can't really say what the tech test is actually going to contain because, well, for starters, I don't really know. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you anyways because I would probably be under an NDA. But rest assured, it's going to be coming out very soon. It was very heavily hinted by Vince Zampella that the technical test is going to be this weekend and the next weekend. So be on the lookout for that. Once again, just watch me on YouTube, watch me on Twitch. I will have all kinds of content coming out for you guys as soon as I'm able to get my grubby little hands on it. I'm sure you can check out all kinds of other people on Twitch and YouTube as well who are going to be posting, you know, hours and hours and hours of content. You know, your guys' Titanfall fix is going to be satiated for a good month after the tech test, you know, before the final game is actually released October 28th. So keep an eye out for everything, guys. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/frothyomens. You know, same exact spelling as you see here on YouTube. That will get you instant updates on when I'm going live, when I'm posting new videos, and whenever I find a really dank meme. So make sure you follow me on there. I've been very, very active on Twitter, and I don't plan on stopping my activity levels there. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you all on the new frontier in Titanfall 2. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. I'm more than happy to answer and talk with you guys and link up with you all to get some games in. So let me know. Have a good day. I'll see you pretty soon. Peace.